Okay, so another thing to note is that when you create a subclass of a class that implements an interface, then subclasses will also implement the same interface, and you don't have to use the implements keyword or anything. It just does it by default. So let's say I have a second class of shapes underneath rectangle that is square. So squares are basically rectangles, except the shape is the same on both sides. Or, I'm sorry, both sides are equal length. So I'm going to start my class, public class, and I'm going to call it square, and it extends rectangle, because squares are rectangles. So we are going to create only one private instance variable, side, and we're going to override the constructor slightly. So I'm going to take in one double S for side, and then what I'm going to do here is call the super, and inside of the super I'm just going to put S on both sides. You remember that rectangle has side A and side B, and what I'm doing here is I'm putting this in for side A and that in for side B, so I'm putting in S twice. So I'll put a semicolon on that, and that way the superclass will actually get all the data that I need, and all I need to do is override that, and then I should probably create an accessor for just the single side, and I can just return side A from that, and I do have access to side A from there. So now that extends rectangle, which implements cut shapes, and so by the property of inheritance, the square will inherit that implementation of cut shapes. So in my cut driver I could create, let's add a new, so cuts, add, and we'll add a new square, and we'll put in a side of 9. And let's try that out. And what I forgot to do there is I forgot to compile square, make sure the object actually works. And that's a good habit to get into while we're here, is you want to make sure that all your objects work before you start running drivers, because if you have problems, if you try to run the driver and you have problems in both the object classes and your driver, you're troubleshooting two things at once. So it's a good idea to just make sure everything's running first. And you can see I have my square is 81 square feet, which would be 9 squared. So that's good. And I have the other 3 as well. And my loop works. It loops all through them. And I just added another 90 something to the total. So it works out a little bit over 400. Or actually almost 500 square feet of wood that I need. So that's just, like I said, a short demonstration of how inheritance works with the implementation of an interface. So just remember that all your subclasses are going to inherit implementations of the interface as well as any methods that you have.